Making art, there's a way of just sort of connecting with the materials where you really lose track of time. And that's called flow. There's a term for that. And it's the beautiful thing. It's this very restful mental state of mind that happens, and I just really enjoy it. You just sort of float. It happens in class too. I'll say, it's time to clean up, class is almost over. They'll say, no, that can't be right. I go over and give them a high five. You have experienced flow, my friend, when you lose track of time. That's what art does for you. My art class is a laboratory of life, and what that means is that I actually teach 2 tracks. I teach art, I teach kids how to paint, I teach kids how to draw, I tell them about art history, how to use the materials. The other track that I'm teaching is something that's never going to show up on any standardized test. What I'm teaching over here is I'm teaching how to do life. I'm teaching kids how to solve their own problems. I'm teaching kids how to think independently. I'm teaching them how to not give up, to finish what they start, to be resilient, to understand that it takes time to get good at something. That's the part that is going to help them be successful in life. This is the next level of drawing. When we do step by step, all the answers are there for us, right? The next one is you do your own step
What
by
I
step.
loved, which is, I feel, a characteristic, I get teary-eyed, about Miss Nesbitt, is she allows the kids to feel good about what they're doing, you know? And I don't care if it's just a piece of paper that was horrible or if it's a piece of paper that was the best. She's gonna make that child feel like it's the best paper in the room. And I've seen her do that.
It's a little bigger. Pump that out. That's good, man. Yeah, now that's your wing. Hang on just a second. There's your wing. Okay, now fatten this one up too. There you go. That's good, that's good, 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 good. Okay, now, so Monday.
She's very honest and she tells us what we should do. So if she thinks we should add something, she tells us in like the nicest way possible so it doesn't like hurt our feelings. And it just makes our artwork even better.
Over the years, I've had an opportunity to go into Romney's classroom or walk past Romney's classroom, and I can honestly say I never recall her sitting down. Whether she is standing with students at their desk and helping them with a project or giving them advice or answering questions, Romney is always involved in what she's doing. She is without a doubt full of energy and passion, and it just resonates with those that interact with her.
I started teaching in 1978 at the University of Missouri as a teaching assistant. I was in graduate school as a painter, and that was the first time I ever did any teaching. Right about that same time, I started working as an artist in the schools through the Arts and Humanities Council, and I had a 2-week residency with a class of kids in Broken Arrow, special needs, high challenges, physical, cognitive, everything. And what happened was the 2 days we painted every day, big pieces of art, rolling, paint, dipping wheelchair wheels in kitty litter boxes full of enamel paint, rolling kids across the paper. We were having a great time. The very last day, what would happen is I'd pull my Subaru up and unload my wagon full of art supplies, and the kids were banging on the window, waving at me. And I could see this one kid, and I could read his lips. He was saying, paint, paint. And I held up a bucket, yes, we're gonna paint today. And he kept yelling, banging on the window, paint, paint. I could read his lips. I held up a great big fat brush, yes, we're gonna paint today. I make my way in, and as soon as I get in the room, he runs up and throws his arms around my waist, squeezes me, and says, paint. And that's when I knew that he had named me Paint because he couldn't say my name. And that's when I knew I was a teacher. In education circles, we've looked at, what's the right kind of school or what's the right kind of curriculum? Do we need to have charter schools? Do we need to have special schools? And now we're at the point that we're trying to figure out what's the right kind of teacher. So when you ask me what is the basis for accountability for the teaching profession, what I'm going to say is it's not a what, it's a who. I am the most important thing that happens in a kid's life when they're in my room for 40 minutes. I'm what makes the difference. I set the tone for the day. I build enthusiasm for whatever it is we're going to do. I teach them whatever it is we're going to learn for 40 minutes. The responsibility is mine.
I get the opportunity to observe Romney in action. And I think what sets her apart, it's not what she teaches, but how she teaches art. She uses opportunities, real-life examples, to give students those life lessons in addition to concepts related to art. And I think it is those life lessons that children remember and will feel empowered by for life.
All right. Isn't that nice? Looky. Very nice.
One of the things I've applied from art class to my life now is taking my time in studies and in researching for questions we've been asking, and it's helped me a lot to try to understand what I'm doing, not rush right through it.
Teaching is what I do for a living. I get my paycheck from Jenks Public Schools, but it's also what I do while I am living. I'm always teaching people, how to problem solve or how to think about that particular situation in a more optimistic way, how to reframe a situation. More urgent or more interesting?
More interesting.
More interesting, okay.
One of the things that Romney does best is what we call lunch bunches. And that's an opportunity for staff members to come together and hear Romney share her information on topics such as procrastination, creativity, and she does those workshops for us over the course of the year. Teachers begin a big research project with students each year. And one of the factors that comes into play is procrastination, and students not being on time with assignments, not meeting deadlines. And so through Romney's workshops, teachers are able to utilize her techniques in the core classroom and guide students to become more productive, successful researchers, meet deadlines, and be able to produce a quality product in the end.
My involvement with the Military History Museum began 20 years before they ever had a museum. Colonel Powell found me. He wanted me to sign some prints that he had purchased. That was in 92, 93, and from that point forward, we've been partnering on all kinds of things. Artwork, I write speeches for him, I paint mannequins for him. It's been a real interesting ride.
Well, I've known Romney now for over 20 years. And I've known her quite well. And in that time, she has demonstrated all of the tenets of leadership that I learned in 27 years in the United States Air Force. She is a tremendous motivator. She is a great public speaker. She is a great coach. She has helped me and guided me in the speeches that I have made, so that I did a more effective job of talking and persuading and informing.
You gotta get a bigger blast.
I've known Romney for a number of years. I taught both of her sons, and then when she began teaching art, we really clicked as far as our philosophy with kids. The fact that Romney is not an art teacher, she is a life teacher. When Romney's teaching an art lesson, she has so much about life lessons woven into it. It's not about whether you can succeed or fail at drawing that oval. It's how that perseverance is going to travel through life with you.
So I appreciate that you guys helped get everything cleaned up. You got your paintings on the rack, you got your names on your paper, life is good. Let's go. Have a nice weekend. I used to think the most important thing would be to teach a kid how to draw or how to paint. I used to think that product or that skill was the most important thing I could do. That, I'm here to teach you how to draw and paint. I don't feel that way anymore. You're going to learn how to draw and paint eventually. You're in here all these weeks. You're going to get better. I don't have to worry about it happening today. What I know is more important is that I'm able to give that kid a sense of confidence about their ability to grow and learn. So when you see beautiful things on the wall, that's great. We all like to look at that. They're all over my school. The important part is, what did that kid learn about himself or herself? What did that kid have to struggle with in order to get it done in time, even though they'd missed some days? What were the little learning opportunities that happened in the midst of painting that painting? That's what's more important.